You from Houston, Texas. And if you follow my channel, you know that I like seeing people who comment, who ask questions. So during this live, if any of you have questions, I'm going to really encourage you to ask them. And basically to, kind of help the community talk. And it will all be for the good. So what I wanted to talk about today is what happens in the bedroom. What are we doing wrong? Why do so many couples struggle in the bedroom? I think one of the most important things that we have to remember is even though we tell people all the time, listen, you got to talk in the bedroom, you've got to, figure out what the two of you are doing. Basically, talking about your bad sex life is not going to help. In fact, it's going to make one of you get defensive and the other person feel even more frustrated, feel even more like they're the one always harassing the partner that doesn't have a high libido or doesn't enjoy sex as much. And so basically, it's a no-win. So what I try to get my couples to practice, instead of things they're typically doing, is I want them to really start talking to each other about what they love in each other. What do you see in your partner that makes you feel enamored or good? Hey, I see a itchy Asian, and thanks for following. And also thanks for just a hello. So it's important that you continue to talk to your partner about what you admire, what you appreciate. It might be the kind of thing they're not turned on sexually, they have a low libido, but there are other things they want. And I think being curious, asking them, what else? When you and I are together, what do you appreciate about me? What turns you on? Is it something like cuddling? Is it something like holding hands? When I, put my arm around you, when I kiss you in public or hold you close in public, open doors for you, the more curious you can be about what your partner does enjoy, because I'll tell you, as a therapist, very seldom is it somebody that just doesn't like anything. Very seldom is it somebody that has such a low libido or disgust that they don't want to do anything in the bedroom. It's usually more about what they do like is not the act of sex. It's not making love. It's more this other stuff. All the things you do when you want an intimate relationship. I like laying in bed in the morning and watching TV with you, or I like laying in bed, having coffee and reading a book. Whatever it is, I think what's most important as their partner is that you basically say something. Hey, anti-vaxxer. My accent is from Wisconsin. That's where I was raised. That's where grew up, and now I live in Houston, Texas. So anyway, back to the content. I think it's really important that we talk about what you're doing in that relationship, because couples who have sex are couples who feel heard, who feel understood. This is what my typical couples are doing. This is what they're getting therapy for. They're usually really angry at each other. And so what they do is they begin blaming each other. They begin saying stuff like, you never want to have sex, there's something wrong with you, I'm going to go out and find it from somebody else. These things are very hurtful. Hey, Barbara Claudio, nice to see you. Gintana at 83, I see you too, but we're going to keep politics out of this, okay? Because this intimacy, my whole brand, has nothing to do with politics, so I don't even want to hear about it here. Gotcha. And the silent treatment, I've seen so many couples that come in, and the reason they're in there is not so much their sex life anymore. They've kind of gotten used to holding each other or finding things they admire about each other. What it is more is one of them is so passive aggressive, they've given the silent treatment. It's almost like, if I don't get what I want, if you continually blame me for the lack of sex, then I'm just going to shut off to you. And I think losing the emotional intimacy you have is going to do far worse damage to a non-existent sex life than you can imagine. So as much as you can, try to stay away from those derogatory behaviors, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to help your relationship. I also want to talk to you all about, what is your emotional intimacy? Like, what are you doing? Because this is really fascinating to me. When the sex life goes, it's usually very shortly after that they stop talking too. And I'm wondering why that is. Like, why would people stop the emotional intimacy just because they weren't having sex? And I think part of the reason is the person that isn't getting as much sex as they want, they are so angry and so withdrawn. They're so hurt because they actually feel rejected. So it would be enlightening if, rather than degrading your partner for not wanting intimacy in the bedroom, you actually were able to say, I feel rejected. I feel hurt. And I'm wondering if part of the reason you don't want to have sex with me is you're not attracted to me. It's a really brave question to ask. And for many of my couples, they can't ask that. They're afraid of the answer. We're talking about problems in the bedroom and how to and how not to talk to your partner about it. Because what I was referring to earlier, what's very commonly said is, if you don't want to give it to me, then I'm just going to go out and find somebody else. Listen to those words. That's extremely hurtful. When you are continually asking for sex and your partner, for whatever reason, you're not getting to the bottom of it, so you don't know. Hi, Marcus. Yeah, you came into this discussion at the wrong time, but you know what? We're still talking about it, and we will for a while. If you all have questions, I really want to encourage you to voice them. Vaccinated anti-vaxxer has a great comment. I imagine the husband demands intimacy more often, and you are right. But I do want to caveat that, because in my practice, I work with mostly men, because I work with the urology department at Baylor College of Medicine, and the physicians there who work in the sexual dysfunction clinic. Men have issues in the bedroom too, but that's one area where men are usually more motivated to get something, to take a pill or something. For women, it's almost like an accepted rite of passage. They're in perimenopause or menopause, and that's when oftentimes they need more of the emotional intimacy. So if you've cut that off, if you've made so many demands for sex on your partner, and your partner no longer trusts you, is no longer talking to you, then what ends up happening is they back away. They back away from all contact with you. And I think that's what we're seeing in more and more couples. It's almost, please forgive these words, but it's almost like the partner who had a low libido got so harassed about not wanting sex that they cut off all of the important stuff about holding each other, hugging, kissing, laying naked in bed together without being worried that it was going to lead to more. And you might say, well, why would a woman or a partner worry about having sex with their spouse? Well, if you're always being asked for sex and it doesn't feel good to you, or there's something happening to your body, you won't always be courageous enough to go for care for it. It's almost like you feel like you might deserve this. But what you don't understand is it's not a good sign. It's a sign that something may be happening underneath to your health. I mean, we use sexual ability, sexual, if you feel sexual, as almost a performance status in medicine. If you're able to have sex and you enjoy sex, that says you're healthy, you're in good shape. So when women are going through this lull in their sexuality, it only makes sense that there's something hormonal or unbalanced or maybe painful is happening in their body or their mind to make them not want to have sex. Sometimes when you've gone through betrayal trauma, it is hard to connect even after trying to bridge the gap with your partner. And this is from Barbara Claudio. They aren't meeting your emotional needs, so your libido takes a toll. Yes, I absolutely agree, Barbara. When someone isn't getting physical sex, then automatically they start feeling rejected. They start feeling like you don't love them as much. And they don't always think of asking their partner what's going on. They assume you don't like me anymore. You don't find me attractive anymore. And so what they naturally do is they push away because they don't want to get hurt. This only makes the partner who wants more sex come on stronger. And then a partner who doesn't pushes harder. And this push and pull is part of the issue that I see a lot with my clients. So I'm trying to bridge that a little bit. I'm trying to help you all understand that if there's no sex in your relationship, if it's gone down, rather than you making accusations, I don't want you to talk about how you're not getting sex. I want you to talk about what parts of intimacy do you enjoy. Somebody, BSP asked, can you talk about how depression can affect libido? Yes, I can. When I want to back up a little bit, the physicians that I talk to are usually urologists. Those are the ones I work with. They deal with men's genitals and also women's, like all the urinary system, but also the sex system. And when they do their tests and everything, many times what they find is not medical, and that means it's emotional. That can be anger. Anger is a big one. Resentment, anxiety, depression, all of those things have a huge effect on one's libido. In the winter, and I love this BSP, seasonal depression specifically, when you're going through months and you look at the curve about, who's having sex, where is your personal libido, you'll see it dip down in those northern states or countries or places where there aren't as much sun, and especially in the winter, because when people have seasonal affect disorder, shorter days really matter, and it starts taking a dip. And what you can do during those times, and I certainly promote with my clients, is work on the area, enhance the other forms of intimacy. I think many of you saw my video that I had the 6 types of intimacy. So if it's not sexual, if your libido is too low for sexual penetration, try the other ones. Try, holding hands more. Try touching more. Try laying next to each other and cuddling, not as heavily dressed. All of those things are easier for someone to manage if they're depressed. If for women, especially when women have sex, they need to feel free. They need to feel like they're escaping, and they can't escape if they have tons of things to do on their lists. And even if they're with someone who makes them feel so good, if you're depressed and it's the winter season, you're not going to have the energy for that. But you may have the energy to take a hot bath and be with your partner and feel sensual and talk about what's happening in your life and, appreciate, tell your partner what you appreciate about them, what, where they are. What do they love about you? What feels good? What do you do for them that feels good as far as a sensation? The other forms of intimacy you can look at is, are we still going places? Are we still experiencing new things together? Are we having adventures? How is our spirituality aligned? Do we still feel close in how we view the world? Intellectually, what's going on for both of us? These are all forms of intimacy. And if you can't have one, rather than to keep harassing your partner for that one, which is physical penetration sex, try to branch out and ask your partner, what feels good to you? Can I touch you here? Does this feel good? Maybe you just want a massage. Faith M asks, how long should a guy last? I'm not sure what you refer to, Fas M. I think I said that wrong. It looked like faith, but it looks like it Fasith. I'm not sure what you're asking there, so you might want to reframe that. And I think if you're asking how long can you sustain an erection, or should you, that's a very personal question, probably very independent on depending upon your partner. I could give you averages, but that wouldn't really be necessary here. Parth S., love the work you do. Can you talk about borrowing and sharing money between couples? Wow, this is a great topic. Maybe in the future, but today I just kind of want to stay with intimacy. And I want to talk a little bit about what happens when this was a question I got, and I promised them I would address it. I did address it on a video. It won't be up for a while, but I did want to talk about this. Barbara Claudio, I love it. Novelty in your marriage is how you keep it fun. Exactly. That's one of the pillars of intimacy, emotional intimacy that I talk about. Actually, emotional and physical. But sex is only one part of the intimacy I talk about. It's number 6. There's 5 others. And if you don't know the other 5, I'm really going to encourage you to go back to a video of mine and look at it. It's called The 6 Types of Intimacy. It would be good for you and your partner. Fasith, I don't know. Oh, 3 hours, geez. Yeah, I don't think 3 hours is appropriate. That sounds like it could be a problem and damaging to your genitals to last 3 hours, so don't worry. How do you, I know I'm saying this wrong, Fathi, M, how do you tell if a woman likes you? Usually there's all kinds of subtle ways, and I think being more aware of their cues, of their face, get off your internet. It sounds, a lot of the people that spend too much time on the internet, maybe are looking at porn, are very confused with watching cues. And the reason is because porn is not human, and it's a slow humanity. We're much slower and we're much more deliberate. Maybe not as deliberate. Maybe I think the person doing it is deliberate, but women are very different than men in this way. So usually, one thing you can bet on is very few women will tell you directly that they're interested in this. And yeah, your question about porn, it's a really good question. And that's a whole liver in the future. I wanted to go back to a question that someone asked me after your partner admits to having an affair, or you find out, why does your partner protect the person they had an affair with? Why do they protect them over you? I want to talk about this because I think so many spouses who are trying to keep the marriage alive, even though their partner betrayed them, one of the most important things you can feel is that your partner believes it was bad too, and that your partner's 100% on your side, a united front. So they block the person they have the affair with, and then they align with you that this was not a good person, this person had low character, whatever. Lo and behold, you find out they don't. They actually will stick up for that person if you say something. Well, I want to tell you, first of all, the reason they do that is because it usually happens early in the healing part after the affair. The reason they're doing that is when you bring that up, they're still feeling that person. There's a personal attachment to that person still within them. So when you criticize this person, they basically feel that, like they've personalized it, and they feel like you're attacking them. You have every right to be angry at the person who your partner had an affair with. But what's important is you keep that person out of it. Once your partner blocks them or breaks up with them or whatever, you focus more on your partner because your partner made a choice to have an affair. Nobody, no other partner tied him up and said, you have to. They made a choice. So you can think whatever you want about this other person's poor character, and you will probably be right. But at the same time, what's most important is you keep the responsibility of what happened on your partner. Don't distract it, because when you do that, as your partner's healing, then they'll try to rationalize this. They'll try to make this they'll minimize it, less important than it was. But at all times, you need to be able to say, I don't blame that person. My disappointment and my blame is totally on you for the choice you made. And that's that. You don't want to, the reason they're going to defend it is when it's said, they still feel it. And not only that, even though they know this person wasn't good, you want to remember they feel guilty. So they're trying to rationalize it. They're trying to make it look like their choice wasn't as bad as it really was. But you know it really was. It was cheating is a bad choice. I don't care who you are. That's like one of the worst choices you could ever make in any marriage. And I am a marriage advocate. I think marriage is important. I think it's sacred. I think it's a sacrament. And that's part of the main reason I give so much to this channel. I believe in it. When you believe in something, you just want to help other people try and sustain and create a relationship they really love living in. So I want to read a few of these questions because you guys are getting way ahead of me. Me and my girlfriend of almost 2 years have been struggling due to her 16-year abusive marriage. How do I get to let her love me? Wow, B, you have to be very patient and take your time. This is a process. It will take a long time. Follow through. Never make a promise that you are not going to keep. And if something happens you can't, you must apologize and ask her, how can I make it up? You're on shaky ground. Congratulations that you're hanging in there, but know at the same time it's going to be hard. Parth S asks, how can we gauge prior to getting into a potential relationship that intimacy is likely to exist 5, 10, 15 years from now? The reason is you're going to set your intentions, you're going to set a vision, and you're going to continue to nurture it. Those relationships that don't work, that's not just some people, it's not just what happens. It's because they let their guard down. They quit trying. I've talked about the invisible load that everybody has to carry, like the household chores, the finances, the management of the house, management of the kids, management of your social life together, all those things. Don't make one person lift that. Like those things have to be divided every week. So both people are helping with chores. Both people are really contributing. Invest first when you look at your list of what you're going to do. Before you put work on there, put your marriage or your relationship. It has to be first. to have a really good one. And remember, that's what this channel is all about, creating a relationship you love being a part of. Gosh, you guys, I'm so honored. I'm just so honored that you get on here and you listen and you ask questions. I'm trying to schedule these lives once a week now in between my clients. So I'm going to have to go, but I just want you to know I have your back. If you ask honest questions, go to my community page. I'm posting every day there. I post something that I think will help you. Just keep asking. And if you think of great video topics, don't be afraid. Like, just send them to me. Send them on my content, like in comments or my community page, because that is the most helpful. If you send it as an email, it begins, I can't attend to it because that's where clients are coming in. So, and I need I need your content. Like, I need to know what you guys need. And remember, there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of people, influencers giving information, but I'm licensed and I'm a licensed therapist. So what I'm going to do is I am always going to give you what the American Psychological Association approves of, because there's a lot of hokey things, and you know that. So anything I tell you, I want you to, you can always get a second opinion, but I'm telling you, as sure as I am of myself and my practice, what I'm telling you is as honest and transparent as possible. So anyway, gotta go, you guys. Hey, Itchy Asian, yeah, I like your handle. It's fascinating. All of you, just have a super day, and thanks for joining in, okay?